Today, we're talking about tablets. It's probably at least a little ironic, if that is the proper use of the word, that as far away from technology as you can be in a cabin in the woods that is off the grid with no electricity or running water, I am choosing to take the time to talk about electronic devices. But I got a new one and I want to talk about it, and I realized, I could throw together something. This probably won't be the same as the other videos where I go into more of a deep dive and discuss the full history, but I have a few things to talk about. Tablets, right? I've had a tablet for a while now. I've had several. The first tablet I ever bought, let's see, I have my notes here. Am I prepared? Do I have a teleprompter or a script? No. But the year is 2012, and I'm reading comics. Specifically, I'm reading them and I go and purchase them. You know, when we had them, I worked at a bookstore, so we had access to comics, and all of my friends there were into comics. I've talked about that before. It's kind of why I started reading comics on another series that I eventually will get back to. But one of my friends who is reading comics is reading them digitally. And he shows me this and goes, "This thing's awesome. I can do this with it. I can do this with it. This really cool." And I went, "I want it. Yes. I want to read comics digitally. I want to read books. Yes, gimme. I want." It was the Nexus 7. I purchased a Nexus 7 not too long after that. On Christmas Day, as a matter of fact, I went and checked my order history. I don't have it with me. It's no longer functioning, unfortunately. But I used it for quite a while. At least a year or two of reading comics and then reading just ebooks in general. And then I discovered at some point, and this would have been, let's see, if 2012, 2013, I was in my early 20s, and I didn't sleep very good. I almost never did. It was really tough getting to sleep, and it had been that way for as long as I could remember at that point. But then I found that if I started reading a book digitally, so I don't need to have the light on, and I turned down the brightness all the way so it doesn't keep me up, I went to sleep much easier. Perfect. Little downside, eventually you drop the tablet on your face if you've got it holding up, or you drop it and it goes off the side of the bed. Or typically, what I remember the most is I would wake up in a panic going, "Oh, did I scratch it? Did I scratch it? Did I scratch it?" Because it dropped down the bed and up against the wall and just slid down the wall. And I would wake up in the morning and grab it and go, "Oh no, it's fine, okay." And to be fair, that original Nexus 7, nothing ever bad happened to it while I was sleeping. It was when I took it into work one day and I set it down, and it was the stupidest thing. I took it and I put it in my bag, and I put my bag on the table, and it was a work table, but it had carpeting on it, so it was a soft-ish surface with, you know, probably a piece of plywood underneath, whatever, and that we built these tables. A soft surface in a bag. Crack the screen. And it was fine. I could still use it, and so I made do for a while. I want to say that was 2013 into 2014, based on the next tablet I would buy. I could use it until the cracked screen stopped registering. You could no longer use like the top half of the screen. All right, well, time to purchase another tablet. This one served me well so far. I got a keyboard case as well. That was how you could, when the screen would stop working, here was my workaround, and I used this for quite a while. Whenever I wanted to use the tablet at all, I would take the tablet. It was in a case with a keyboard, unplug the keyboard, plug in a mouse, use the mouse in order to click and drag so I could unlock the thing, switch back to the keyboard, type in the password quickly because you only had a certain amount of time before it would time out. Then you could get in and use the tablet. Mostly with the keyboard, you could do a lot of stuff with that at that point. But eventually the time came. In May of 2014, I ordered a Nexus 7. What? The 2013 version though, about a year old. It worked great. I had that for a very long time. It was functional all the way to the end, and no complaints. It was slightly slimmer. It was all black instead of having gray on the back. It was really cool. I don't have them with me. I didn't think to bring them. I couldn't bring that one anyway. It has been destroyed. Here's a fun little thing. After a while, that second Nexus 7, Nexus 7 II, that's not what they called it. It was just the 2013 version. Different form factor, slightly bigger, worked really well for comics. I really liked that. And I remember using it and reading with it for many, many years after that. And even at one point, after I'd switched off, There was one point where I brought it back out, got it back into the rotation of reading and trying to make it work so that I wanted to build a case for it to make it as close to the Sheikah Slate from Breath of the Wild, because I went, oh, that's awesome, but it's bigger than your phone, or at least my phone at that time. And I went, you know, you have the functionality, you could do that, and you could use it to identify things, and it's a map, it's all these things. I'm now going out and doing things outside at that point, and going out into nature, and yeah, that could probably work. I kind of like that idea. It never really panned out. I never actually wound up taking it into the field to use, but eventually it was put to rest after there was a video on this channel when I built a new computer at one point, and I thought, oh, this will look really cool, and I'm not using this tablet anymore, but I love repurposing old electronics. I try to never get rid of old things as long as I can still have a purpose for them. And so that purpose became to plug inside my computer case to use as a display screen to show cool text and graphics. And I used that to put a Minecraft image inside of a computer that was Minecraft colored and themed, and I thought, that's really neat. Even though I knew you can't leave it just plugged in 24/7 running all the time. You have to have something that will drain the battery and let it charge back up. The battery does not do well just plugged in all the time. Well, I downloaded a program to do that. I rooted the phone so I could get something that would do that. I did that, not the phone, but the tablet. Didn't matter. I checked on the computer one day and saw the battery had ballooned up. I believe I have an image of that I can show you here. Yeah, dangerous. Had to get rid of the battery. Had to take it apart. Not good to have like that. Lithium ion batteries are a fire hazard when that happens. So it's not foolproof that, you know, using the app to drain and charge the battery so that it doesn't always, so that doesn't happen. Not a guarantee. But anyway, now we flash forward a few years and I want a new tablet, and I wanted to do more things because the old one is starting to get to the point where it is basically just an e-reader. And I buy this. Well, okay, this is just a case. I buy this. This is an Asus ZenPad 3S, something like that. I don't remember. Come on, you got my fingerprint. There we go. I don't have all the details on it, but I know I bought it in September of 2017, and I paid about $300 for it, brand new. And it became perfectly, just fantastic. This was touchscreen, Android, still works, it's fine. I now use it for just basically e-reading, but I was using it for comics, I was using it for e-reading up until recently. This has been in rotation for 8 years. It is 2025. It is running, I think I can actually find out. It's slow at this point. Of course it is. I mean, it's, you know, let's see. There's the apps after I already touched it. We're going in, I'm trying to find in the settings to see what version of Android about. It's Android 7.0. So it's not exactly secure, and I don't have any sensitive data on there anymore, thankfully. But it still works. It's still fine. It's not really what I want, but it worked for 8 years. And I'm still going to be using it, but this was my main reading device for years and years and years. And at one point, it was how I watched videos. I used it as a secondary computer, a second monitor at one point. It's been through the gamut. And the only thing, it's the thing that I always feared would happen when using a device in bed. One day, I had to get back into bed during the day to close the window because the window was directly under my bed, and I kneeled on the tablet. And I bent it a little bit. You can't really tell. I did my best to kind of bend it back. There's one little bit, and I don't have a macro lens enough to show you what's happening, where the frame itself, but it didn't crack. The screen didn't crack, and it never has shown any functionality problems with it. It has been great since then. So Asus, that was my go-to at that point. I really liked Asus, and I have many other things made by Asus. And so this became a gaming tablet. I played, let's see, is it still on here? I don't know if they got rid of it at some point or if I managed to keep it because I don't remember the name. It looks like I had to delete it. Basically, almost nothing functions on it anymore. I want to say it was Elder Scrolls Legends Was that what it was called? They did their own like card game, and that worked beautifully. I would take this thing, it's super lightweight, simple, nice and easy. I mean, it's not, you know, compared to something else. It was slightly bigger and heavier than my last tablet, but bigger and heavier, well, bigger means more comic space, which was great. And so I read quite a bit of comics back at that point in those days and used it as the e-reading and everything. It wasn't ideal for reading in bed. It's a bit bulky for that. So I go back and forth on that depending on whether I want something smaller or bigger. But I still, to this day now, it has been more than a decade of me going and reading at night in order to fall asleep, and it works really well for me. So Asus makes pretty good stuff, in my opinion, from what I got here, and this was fantastic. And I started looking, and I couldn't really figure out another one. I had my eyes, this is 3-4 years ago, I was like, okay, I wouldn't mind something different to replace a tablet. But I also kind of want it to have a bit more functionality than that. I always have had the draw to draw. There has been an interest. I'm not very good at it. I've never really been trained in any way, and I've never really put forth that much effort. It was something I started at one point and dropped many times. But actually having a stylus would be cool. And so would having a keyboard. And so would having something more powerful that can actually play videos after this thing kind of stopped being able to play videos. So maybe I want a laptop? In 2019, enter the Asus Zen Pad? No, the other one was Zen Pad. Zen Book? Zen something. They did Zen for a while there. But it's a laptop. It's very lightweight. It's very thin. Really cool. It's old news. I'm not really showing you like, oh, this is really neat for today's purchase or anything, just to be clear, but this is me going through. It is a Zen book. It says so on there now that I've opened it. Which version? I don't know, but I think it had an S in it, and I think it had a flip as well. And I liked it for multiple reasons. One, lightweight, really cool. Didn't have a laptop at this point. I did have a laptop. It was big and bulky. This is actually portable, so I can use it something. It's got a touch screen. It can completely flip around, which is nice, so I can use it. And it has a stylus. So I can be taking notes. I've done it. I've used this thing for taking notes. I've used it as just a laptop for typing things. It still works pretty well about 6 years later. Is it perfect? No, it is not. It never really was designed to be perfect in my... I'm not going to nitpick it, but I am going to tell you my most frustrating feature is that if you were going to pick up a laptop like this, and let's say you are trying to use the laptop while you're picking it up, what is the best way to do that? I don't know. But here's the way that I typically do it. I grab it by one corner, I hold it, and then I try to use it with the touchpad. This does not work. As soon as you are pinching on either side of the chassis, on there, the touchpad is not functional in the way you want it to be, where you can click anywhere around the touchpad. It only clicks on one side, and when you try to click here, it registers it as a right click, which I don't always need a right click when I'm trying to... It's extremely frustrating. Really not great. I suppose you have to hold it from the back and balance it and then do this, but you know what? If I'm trying to type like this, it can wiggle all over the place because I'm not really pinching and holding, I'm just supporting. It's not great if I'm trying to carry it around and use it for something. And the touchscreen doesn't always, you know, it's fine. It works great. Still functioning 6 years later. Bit slow. Starting to slow down. I mean, it had decent specs, I think. 8 gigs of RAM. I don't remember all of the details on it, but while we're talking about it, I can boot it up. I still use it. I just used it last night, and I continue to use it. You've seen it on this channel if you've seen any other videos that I do, because this is kind of my main... This is my laptop. If I need portable computing of any kind, I use this laptop. It works, and it works fine. But it's not what I want. It was never what I wanted. I got the stylus. The stylus is good. I do like this Asus stylus. It's really nice. I've played with it. I've taken notes on this thing when for a while there, my editing process in making these videos, and especially wildlife, was to completely edit a video, then go back and rewatch it and take notes. And I was like, well, here's my excuse to use, you know, to use this in the way that I bought it for using the pen. I would sit there and write the notes. That lasted a little bit, but it wasn't great. Let's see. I mean, on paper, most of these are pretty good, and especially for 2019. I think I paid like $1,000 for this laptop. It wasn't brand new or anything. I don't know when it actually came out. Pretty sure I bought it in 2019. But it has 16 gigs of RAM. It's got a Intel i7 8550U. I didn't know much about computers at that point, to be honest with you. It is an Asus ZenBook UX370 UAR Signature Edition. Does that matter much? No, not really. But a few drawbacks about this. I've already talked about the pinch. I can't really pinch and use. Kind of takes it down a little bit. Flipping it back and forth between touchscreen mode, laptop mode, it's not perfect. It's fine. The pen is great. Nowhere to store the pen or anything. And it's okay. I use a second monitor with it. I've done that in videos when I wanted to show something while being able to use my computer. So I bought a used second monitor for like $80, just a portable Acer thing that was refurbished. Works fine. Secondary monitor, whatever. Works off a USB-C, works off of a mini HDMI or full size? No, mini HDMI. Whatever. It works. That's fine. It's not really what I want. It was never what I wanted. And the battery life is abysmal. I can get like an hour out of it. If I put it in full battery saving mode, turn the brightness all the way down like I'm using this to watch videos while I'm here camping, while I'm eating or, whatever. If I want to watch a Bob's Burgers episode that I have saved to the hard drive, I can do that. But the battery life is not great. And I've been using this a lot more lately. Like the tablet, the Asus Zen Pad and the Zen book, right? We're in the whole Zen thing here. The Zen Pad has been getting daily use multiple times a day. I am back to reading comics regularly. I am back to reading a book and paying attention to it regularly. That one's been going on for about a year, and digital reading has been my preferred way for such a long time now at this point. I have physical books for some, but digital books are usually easier to acquire. A bigger collection. I'm not trying to make the argument about digital books. They've been around for a long time. They're not going anywhere. I prefer them. But if I read in bed and I'm falling asleep, I am not paying attention. I am just reading myself to sleep. There is a difference. And so when I actually want to read a book, especially for the first time, which I have been reading several, I finally read through all of the Lord of the Rings novels recently. I just wrapped that up. That was really good. I'd never read them before. I'd only watched the movies. Good stuff. And so I set aside a time, I kind of carve out in my schedule a time to sit down and read. And this has been doing fine for that. And it really is good. And then I've been using the laptop a lot more as a laptop for typing. Every week at a very minimum, I've been kind of doing journaling whenever I come up with ideas for videos, or I'm trying to just think through things. Whenever I'm sitting on the couch and I need a computer, it's laptop. If I sit down and type for about an hour, I burn through at least 50% or sometimes 60 to 70% of my battery doing nothing but typing into a note doc. That's not great. That's not great at all. I haven't looked into whether or not I can replace the battery on this. It's 6 years old at least. That's how long I've had it. Yeah, it's old. And yeah, it's okay. But there is another. Let me pivot in this timeline slightly back to, 2013 or 14, somewhere in that range. Maybe 15. I don't remember exactly. My partner, wife now, Bonnie, comes home from school. She's a teacher. And the schools that she's been at, which have been several, sometimes give her a device. And they gave her a device at this school. And they gave her a Surface Pro. Microsoft makes a tablet. And I got to play with it a little bit. She's also brought home iPads. I'm not a huge fan of Apple, but the Surface was pretty cool. The Surface was really cool. And I went, ooh, well, this is actually exactly what I want. It was at the time where I'd already bought, no, it was before this. It was before this, but it was during the time of the Nexus 7 that would eventually balloon up. That Surface Pro was so cool. It was smooth. The functionality was really built out for it. There wasn't like a lot of delay and lag. It just felt like the writing was fantastic. The pen that they had, it really showed me what ooh, I wanted that. And I looked it up and went, $2,000? ooh, I really don't have $2,000 to spend on a computer at any point in time, or a device, a tablet, reading, I don't know, the drawing is for fun. I can't justify that. And I just kind of thought about it and forgot about it, and just moved on, and eventually would buy all the devices we just went over, a tablet, and, you know, bought a little stylus for it, but it's the rubber tip stylus that's not really a stylus. And, you know, then I bought the laptop and thought that would do good, and it was so good, and it worked for so long. And the only thing is that you really couldn't remove the keyboard. If you haven't guessed where this is going, I have decided to upgrade. I have decided to upgrade for the laptop that I type on every week. I have decided to upgrade from the tablet that I read on every week. This is a Surface Pro. This is the thing I've wanted. It's a couple years old. I couldn't buy one brand new. $2,000 is still what the brand new models go for. But you know what? This is only about was it 2022 or 23? I think it was 2023 when the Surface Pro 7 Plus came out. I don't know. I went on eBay looking, and I wanted to get something secondhand that would still function. It's still going to run for a few years before it gets outdated in the technology, and hopefully it'll do fine. And it's everything I wanted. Let's see. I really just like, it has the keyboard. I can take the keyboard off, just have a tablet, the Surface Pen. I've ordered a couple more replacements, knockoff brands that I want to try that have good reviews, because these ones are really expensive, and then some new nibs for this one, because whoever was using this definitely put the nib through quite a lot. But it's got Windows Hello. I've been reading on it. I was just reading on it just a little while ago. Big screen, much bigger. Let's see what I was reading before, you know, for a size comparison. Yeah, significantly bigger screen, much faster. I mean, it's got way more processing power. Yeah, no kidding. It does all the things that I want it to do. And I'm really pleased about that. Just really happy. So far, it's been exactly what I wanted. It, without compromise. The only compromise being that it's not the newest and greatest model. That's fine. I think I can get by with this. It was like $300. The same price that I paid for this. I didn't spend $1,000 on a laptop. I spent $300 on a couple generation old Surface. And I looked to see what, you know, reasonably what I could afford, because I wanted a new tablet, and I didn't even consider buying a Surface at the first go. What I considered was buying another gaming tablet. They don't really make those anymore. I saw, like, basically Asus is the only one who still makes a decent Android laptop. I think iPads have just dominated the cheaper end tablet market. And there just really aren't a lot of options. Okay, I take that back. The still functional and not going to be outclassed immediately or just be garbage right off the line tablets, because there are plenty of Android tablets that are made by third-party companies that I wouldn't trust to do much of anything besides be an e-reader, and I already have a tablet that can be an e-reader. It'll be fine. As a matter of fact, I can replace my Surface phone that I've had and still use and read, but now I can read with this if I want to when I'm going to sleep, until I drop that on myself or on the cat, who sleeps right next to me. And often I wake up and there's a phone on top of the cat as she's sleeping. She doesn't seem to mind, but I have a feeling she probably would prefer if I didn't drop things on her while she's sleeping. So we'll see how the tablet goes for that, because that's a bit heavier of a device to just thunk. Anyway, yes, a couple generations old Surface Pro. Really happy with it. It's actually what I wanted without compromise. It runs great. It plays videos smoothly. The typing is fantastic on it. I haven't had the issue. You can't do the same thing though. Like, I just have to give up on trying to one-handedly hold this thing, because the keyboard doesn't, it's not physically, you know, if I do that, then the whole screen goes backwards. It's not made to do that. That's okay. I don't do much of that anyway, and besides, I can rip the whole keyboard off and still have the functionality of it, or I could set it down or something. I like it. I like it a lot. I'm really happy that I finally got the thing that I've wanted for quite a while. The kickstand makes it a lot more usable too. Yeah, something that I didn't have with the laptop, so you kind of always, the laptop will sit on your lap just fine, but having an actual kickstand, battery died in the middle of a take. Hopefully, still didn't lose any progress. I don't know. I'm in a cabin in the woods. I can't really pull up and start looking. I don't know if I could edit videos on this thing. Probably, maybe, but I'd prefer to do it on the more professional at-home setup. Kind of built the whole thing for a reason. So that's pretty much it. I'm super happy with it. I've been reading comics on it. Works fantastic for that. I'm reading ebooks on it. Really like that. Been able to type on it. It has replaced all of my other devices. And I think I can still use my secondary screen with it. I haven't tried, but I'm pretty sure I looked that up when I was purchasing it because it has a USB-C. Even though it charges over its own proprietary cable, which I'm not a fan of, I do like everything else about it. I really am happy with it, finally. No compromises, no going, well, I can get this, and hopefully it'll be fine and I can use it like this. As long as it lasts for the next few years, I'll be happy. I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll buy another one at that point. That'll be whatever generation just came out now. In a couple years, it'll be older, and I'll be able to afford that. That's pretty much it. I really like tablet computers. Android for a long time, went to Windows at some point, and well, I guess I went to Windows with the laptop, and now we're on Windows in a tablet form, and it actually surprisingly works really well. Windows 11 on the tablet. On a Surface, they you know, hey, they customize it, they optimize it. That's the word I was looking for. They've done a good job with it. I'm happy. There was a little brief period I can just mention where I found an iPad Gen 1 in a thrift store for like 20 bucks, and it's huge and it's thick. And I used that for a while until I lost it. And I didn't like that. I had a lot of problems with it for many reasons, honestly. But I bought it for 20 bucks and thought, oh, now I can read, because I guess I'm getting older and I wanted the text to be bigger as my eyesight. So I was using that. Yeah, that's not a great thought to have, but I did realize that at some point. And when I found that in a thrift store, I went, well, this is 20 bucks and it's a tablet computer. This was in 2021, I want to say. So however old that was from their first generation. And boy, did it take me like a full weekend of working on it. And when I say a full weekend, I mean like 8 to 10 hours of just beating my head against a wall. I am fairly technically savvy. I can do most things on a computer, and especially I can just use the internet to figure a lot of stuff out that I don't know how to do off the top of my head. But jailbreaking and side-loading my own books that I already own digitally onto an iPad Gen 1 pushed me to the limit and really proved to me that I have zero interest in purchasing Apple products. Just not. I never really have. I had an iPhone at one point, we talked about in the phone video, and it will never happen again. And if it wasn't 20 bucks for an iPad, I guess it's kind of good that I lost it in the end, but whatever. It's a whole thing. Anyway, I'm super happy with it. It's doing great here. I brought all of them just in case because I was trying to spread out over 2 days, getting as much battery life out of all of these devices as possible, just so that we don't take the chance of anything, you know, dying. And I don't have a way to charge it. I have a battery backup, but I'd rather make sure that I use the battery backup for battery backup things that are more important than just like, I want to read. I want to read a comic. I think that's everything. Thanks for watching. That's, you know, that's my history with the tablets that I've owned up until this point. Why I like them. How much use I've gotten out of them. How much more use I can still get out of them, I hope. And yeah. Yeah. Oh, I guess I bought this. I just wrapped up, didn't I? I bought the Zen Pad for gaming, and I played games on it. I mentioned one specifically, but I played a bunch of games on it, and now I've realized that the Surface is not really going to be used for gaming, although I can, I think, play some games on it. But that's because I have a gaming handheld now. I don't really want to play on a touchscreen or on a you know, unless it's a stylus game. This would probably work for a stylus game, but I have a whole other device that I thought I brought with me on this trip, and I'm just realizing that when I just pulled this stuff out of the bag, it wasn't in there. But it was another Asus, an Asus ROG Ally. I made a whole video about that because it's incredible handheld gaming. Ooh, really happy with that thing. Even though the SD card burned out, that was a bummer, but it's still great for everything else that I've been using. Anyway. I'm gonna go back to being in a cabin in the woods. Bye, everybody.